Good evening, everyone. So, as you know, we are here with class 7 and it's chapter 5. So, today I think we are going to end up this class because we are left with very little part. But as you know, we are going to, whenever we start any kind of chapter, just we go for the recap of it. So, let's go for the recap first. So, when we go for the recap of this chapter, we get to know that yesterday what things we learned. We learned about a number of things, especially we learned about neutralization, right? We learned about neutralization. We got to know that through an example that when we have one acid, another we have the base, how can we neutralize anything? So yesterday we went through that a kind of experiment, and what it was that I took means we took 1/4 of this test tube with water, means with acid, and after that what we did, we started adding some phenolphthalein with it. Okay, phenolphthalein is what actually, so we have 3 to 4 drops of 2 or 3 drops of phenolphthalein we added, right? It became completely pink. But next drop made a miracle. And what it was? The next drop when I added, it just became the white color, means without any color. It was strange. Then again I added some acid, 1 drop of acid, it became pink. 1 drop of base made it colorless. So what exactly it was? When you are going for drop by drop, one acid drop and after that one sodium dioxide, means one base drop, what do we find? Basically we find it just shows that when there is an sufficient amount of acid and base together, mixed together, it forms neutral, it makes the things neutral. Now the matter comes that does something else produce? Yes, undoubtedly we find when acid and base combine, means when the process of or the reaction of this neutralization is going on, in that process two things appear, and what those things are? Those two things are salt and water. One is salt and another is water. When the heat is generated, every time when there is a reaction, heat generates, along with that water, something evaporates. What exactly it is? It is water, and along with that it comes out the NaCl, means sodium chloride. Sodium chloride and water. So what do we find? If we go for the chemistry level, so what do you find? The hydrochloric acid means HCl, and sodium, which is an acid actually, hydrochloric acid, which is an acid, HCl, and sodium hydroxide, which is NaOH. When they have a mixture, when they have a reaction, we find that it forms NaCl and it forms water, right? So here we got to know all that. Now the matter comes, do we need, why did we talk about neutralization? First thing we got to know that something is, yeah. So I must tell you, I find that there is some kind of technical issue. So let's see whether it works or not. So what we were talking actually, we were basically, is there any need of neutralization in our life? Does something happen when we go for neutralization, or is there any benefit of neutralization in our body or in our day-to-day life? I must say yes. What happens? You know what? Sometimes, first, we already know that our body, our stomach is having some kind of enzymes, some kind of acids, and what those kind of acids are? Actually, it is hydrochloric acid. Our body is having, means our stomach is actually having hydrochloric acid. What it does, it helps our food to get digested. If anybody is not having hydrochloric acid, so in that case the food will not be able to digest it, and that's why it is always told that whenever you eat something, don't drink for at least 1 hour. Why? Because when the food goes through the food pipes, the food reaches to the stomach, because second and third chapter, especially the second chapter, we got to know about it that food is like food requires some kind of acid to get digested. So when we gone through it, we found that the food reaches from the food pipe, and after that it reaches to the stomach. So when it reaches to the stomach, there is a need of three things. But one thing is very important, that is hydrochloric acid. And if you drink water before 1 hour, what happens? You just cool down this hydrochloric acid and it does not allow the food to get digested. Right? This is the basic concept. That's why it is told don't drink water between 1 hour, just after your meal for around 1 hour. You don't drink water. Now we are not actually talking about it, we are basically talking about the matter that if hydrochloric acid is not working, what will be the problem? Undoubtedly we won't be able to digest the food, the stomach will not digest the food uh, properly. And what will be the problem? Either will have excess amount of, because in body it's okay when we have this kind of hydrochloric acid in a proper amount, that is okay. But when it is too much, then what will happen? We feel acidic, and every time we feel like something, sometimes it may have a feeling of vomit or acidity. It comes to our every part of body, it like the way people used to say. How can we overcome this? If this kind of problem persists, we take some kind of medicine, right? It is always told that if you're feeling like vomiting, or if you're feeling like acidic and all, so what you need to do, take some baking soda and drink it with water, with only 1 pinch of baking soda and drinking with water. Why baking soda? Because we know very well something is acidic, means acid is there in your body. And when you want to neutralize it, you want to minimize the level of this acid, what you have to do? You have to take some kind of base. And that's why it is told take only 1 pinch of baking soda with water, or you just keep it in your throat. Suddenly it will go inside, and it will, at least it will give you some kind of relief, right? The same applies if you take some like having indigestion issue and having all acidic body, you take eno. So what it does again the work of a base. But these are the home remedies actually. But it is here, when you go through this book, what it talks about. It says that if acid is more and more, at its extreme level, so what you need to do, so you should take an antacid. Antacid means something which releases the acid. So an antacid such as milk of magnesia. So you need to take that. When you take that, what happens? It gives you relief. Why? Because milk of magnesia contains magnesium hydroxide, which is a base. So when too much of acid and you are taking a base, it neutralizes the body. That way you are getting relief from the acid, right? What an antibiotic, it pains a lot. Even the kind of jalan, you can say, it pains a lot, and you really feel like, oh my god, what is this? In that case, actually, when we go for scientific, some like scientific view, what we find that a kind of acid, and it injects formic acid in our skin. That's why all of a sudden we start, like the skin start burning, we start paining. What you need to do, just rub it. It is always told it, or if antibiotic or something like that, what to do? Take the iron rod and rub yourself. Take the salt and rub yourself. Take the baking soda and rub yourself. Take the baking soda and acid. This is acid which has been injected hydro carbonate. Okay, it is sodium hydrogen carbonate. Just part of the skin with that baking soda. So what happens? Undoubtedly, acidic the it gives us a relief. So I think you can easily understand what is the basic use of it. And scientifically, though we don't know the chemical name and the acidic name of all these items, but we know that these kind of precautions have been taken from the beginning as the home remedies. But I don't know how and how these people were very much well known about the acid and base, but they were knowing it very well that this is the solution for it. soil treatment related to that neutralization? Yes, undoubtedly. Because what happens because of the should not use chemical fertilizer. What makes the soil? It makes the this soil barren. We should not let this limit cross because it really creates a problem. So here what comes, that why it happens. So when you are using chemical fertilizers, an excess amount of chemical fertilizers in your soil, in the soil, what happens? It makes the soil acidic, and because of that it does not allow the plants to grow. It does not provide the kind of environment to the plants to grow in the soil. So what is the solution? Do you think that only acidic cases it happens? No. Many times, when just because of the chemical fertilizers, the soil becomes basic also. When it is converts into basic, when it is acidic or it is basic, it will not let the plants grow. So when it is acidic, we have to use the base on it, and when it is basic, when we have then we have to use the acid on it. Now you may have a feeling what kind of acid we have to use, right? So when it is acidic, we have to use the calcium oxide. That is quick lime, you can say. We can use the calcium oxide, or also you can use the calcium hydroxide. Either calcium oxide or you use calcium hydroxide, which makes this acidic soil base one, right? But the matter comes, if it is completely base, then what to do? Extremely base, then what to do? In that case, we can do one thing. Okay, in that case what can we do? So we find that in that particular case, dear students, I find that maybe there would be not required right now. Since the cow dung and rest of the yeah. So yes, so we get to know these items produce acid, and which makes the base naturally into the neutral, means it converts the basic into the neutral part, and it is the process of neutralization. So what we find, excess of acid or excess of base is never going to work. It is never allowing the plants to grow. So happens so. Now coming to the next one, soil factory waste. You know very well, whenever we are having, like yesterday also we talked about the acid rain, and what acid rain causes. So we find that acid rain is actually just because of this air pollution, right? Air pollution causes acid rain, and because of that a number of problems occur. Even the fertile also, many times it becomes unfertile because of this kind of acid rain. Here we are coming to the part that there is a different kind of waste also which is being produced from the factories. So what those items are actually, they are the items you might have heard that the factory waste are actually being flown into the rivers, into the water bodies. The clean water bodies are get infected, or they get polluted just because of the factory waste. Now the government said it's not allowed. So how to do and what to do? In that case, what will happen if directly the factory waste or factory may, yeah, it will make the